themselves with a group of people. In this case, Rick has come forward, and in following with baptism, he is identifying himself with Christians all over the world and those that have ever lived. Okay? So he's identifying himself with the Christian kingdom. He's also identifying himself with a local group of Christians, and that's the group at Zion Hope Baptist Church. Okay? So baptism is everything about identification. When John the Baptist was baptizing folks in the Jordan River, they were coming, and as they repented of their sins, they would go out to him and were baptized. That taking them down into the water and bringing them back up was not erasing their sin. That was done ahead of time. Okay, them going down into the water and being brought back up was simply saying, yes, I have made that decision. I'm identifying with your message. I'm identifying with what you're saying and who you are. Okay, so baptism is all about identification, and there are Christians around our world even today who, in following in baptism, actually put their life on the line as they identify themselves with Christianity. Okay. And so that's the meaning behind it. It does not change your standing before God as far as whether or not you have a relationship with Him or not. That's decided ahead of time. Your personal relationship with God comes through Christ and His death on the cross. One of the thieves that was crucified with Jesus, he became a Christian at the last minute, and he was never baptized. Jesus said to him, today you will be with me in paradise. He said, remember me when you come with your kingdom. And he said, Jesus said, today I assure you, you will be with me in paradise. And so what changed his standing before God is how he responded to Jesus. Okay, it was not him being baptized. In his case, he never had that opportunity. So there is no salvation value behind it. It is very simply us identifying ourselves with Christianity and with a local body of believers. Okay? Why do we do it? Very simply because Jesus told us to do it. Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, and not a river quite this big, not this far across, but the Jordan even today is a decent-sized river in many places. And so John was out baptizing folks, and Jesus came to him and said, I need to be baptized. And you probably know the story. John said, I don't need to baptize you. You should be baptizing me. And Jesus said, John, you let this happen. Okay? This needs to happen. And then later on, Jesus told his disciples to go into the world, tell people about him, and when they respond, that they are to follow the same process. Okay? So there was a time in my life after accepting Christ as my Savior where I came forward and I was baptized. And I did that out of obedience to God. What I understood that He wanted out of me. This simple act of obedience and coming and being taken down into the water and brought back up in front of a group of witnesses. Okay, and so that's why we're baptized. It is an act of obedience. It's something generally people do one time after they become a Christian. There are different situations where someone may come and they're baptized again, but generally for most folks it's a one-time thing. They're baptized, and as they do, they become a part of a local body of believers. Okay, and so it's one of two things that we do. Just strictly out of obedience to the Lord, baptism, and then Lord's Supper is the other one that we do occasionally at our church, and that also is an act of identification with Christ and His message in a body of believers as well. Okay, all right. So as you know, Rick has come forward and he's asked